Welcome to the history of the Green Street Church. In 1905, Englewood Methodists began holding Sunday school classes in the home of Josie Quimby Miller. In 1914, the Reverend Joseph Barton organized the first Methodist congregation in Englewood. There were 10 charter members, including pioneer family members Nellie Ainger and Edith Lamp. They met at a one-room schoolhouse at the north end of Englewood. Reverend Barton came on Saturdays by train from Punta Gorda to McCall. Now, McCall was a town with a depot, store, and post office, serving the ranch area near the Myakka River Bridge at El Jubian. Now, that's why our road to this day is called McCall Road, even though McCall, the town, no longer exists. Now, from that area, the Reverend rode in the mail wagon to Englewood. He preached to the little group and stayed overnight at the home of Sarah Lamp Kelly, and then made the trip back to Punta Gorda on Mondays. By 1926, the small congregation was meeting at the Lemon Bay Women's Club. In 1928, on land donated by Mr. and Mrs. Stanley Lamp, the very first church in Englewood was built on the corner of Green Street and Magnolia by volunteers and local shipbuilders. The new church cost $1,250, and 3 dimes were placed in the cornerstone of the debt-free building as fire insurance. In 1929, when the Florida land boom collapsed, Englewood was hard hit. The church struggled. Lottie Lamp, Stanley's niece, held the small congregation together. She cleaned the church, provided flowers from her garden for services, played the piano when needed, and sold flowers and baked goods to raise money to pay for the minister. Lottie also arranged for a Baptist minister and cornetist from Venice, Roy Gustafson, to call the worshipers together. It is said that it was the sound of the minister's cornet that announced church services and brought the fishermen in from Lemon Bay to attend church. At that time, records show 6 Sunday school classes with an average attendance of 29, and collections ranging from 33 cents to $1.87. Expenses for the little church included lights for the year, $17.76, oil and oil can, 35 cents, light bulb and shade, 45 cents, mosquito killer, 25 cents, and a donation for new steps, 50 cents. Here is the church in 1953. The original bell tower, which was on the front, is gone. A hurricane damaged it in 1944. It was replaced by the small bell tower you can see on the roof. The front entrance was widened to accommodate caskets, and as you can see, a fellowship hall was added to the left side of the church. Here is a newspaper photo of the church on Thanksgiving in 1957. Notice that columns have been added to the front. Here is a postcard. It shows the church in the late 1950s, and you will also see a cross has been added to the front, as well as loudspeakers on the roof. In 1962, the growing congregation broke ground for a new, larger sanctuary next door. The original building was desanctified and moved to the western side of the property and turned to face Green Street. It was redesigned and named the Lamp Youth Center in recognition of the contributions made to the church by the Lamp family. But unfortunately, it badly deteriorated over the years. The building was sold in 1979, but the Lemon Bay Historical Society became concerned that renovation work by the new owners might threaten the historical integrity of the building. After some negotiations, the building was given to the Historical Society, but the land was not. It was leased. The Society restored the building and returned it to its original 1920s design. Here you can see restoration of the original 1928 bell tower. In 1998, the first wedding rental in the restored church museum was held. And in 2005, the building was recognized by the Sarasota County Register of Historic Places. Here is the church on Green Street after the restoration. However, in 2018, the land lease was not to be renewed. The owner said that he needed the space for parking. With help and support from the entire Englewood community, the Historical Society raised funds to move the iconic building from Green Street to a permanent home on land they owned next to the historic Lemon Bay Cemetery. The church was placed on land right where we are now. Here's a picture of it just after the move. And here is a lovely painting of the church. When we return, if there's time, you might want to explore the Lemon Bay Cemetery next door. The cemetery, incidentally, is on the highest land area in Englewood. It is a unique natural habitat called a sand pine scrub. And note that the road that we entered on is called Alta Vista, meaning high view. Since the late 1800s, the deceased loved ones of Englewood's pioneer settlers have been laid to rest on this high-ground sandy ridge. The land for the cemetery was deeded to the citizens of the Lemon Bay area by means of trustees by John H. and Florence V. Hill on May the 10th, 1900. And here on the sign lists the first board of trustees, many pioneer families. You can see there the Greens, the Lamps, and the Gottfrieds. In the cemetery, if you have time to explore, there is indeed the gravestone of Lottie Lamp and an interesting grave for Fisherman Bill Ainger. And finally, the artist Paul Gauguin, his son Emile, was buried here. This ends our presentation. Thank you.